right, good afternoon. Alan Harris here, the Emergency Manager of Seminole County. We're here in the Emergency Operations Center where we are activated with fire rescue, law enforcement, public works, our information technology, radio telecommunications, emergency management, personnel planning and logistics, as well as the public information staff. We are monitoring, of course, the progression of now Category 3 Helene, Hurricane Helene. While we are outside of the cone, the size of this hurricane has made it very important for us here in the Emergency Operations Center and our first response agencies as well as public works agencies to be able to respond quickly and efficiently to this emergency. So that's why we're here activated in the EOC. We also have our Citizens Information Hotline open for anyone that may have questions during the event, 407-665-0000. We ask that our residents stay safe. Of course, as we get into the evening hours, we're going to see some tropical storm force winds here in Seminole County. Some of those, of course, could be sustained winds. So please, if you don't have to, stay at home, stay off the roadways, allow our first responders to respond efficiently to any emergencies that they need to respond to. We have been in contact with Florida Power and Light and Duke Energy. While they're not here in the EOC today, we have asked them to be, of course, on call for us. There's lots of line crews here in the county that are ready to respond, and they have responded. We've had about 3,000 customers roughly that have lost power during the event so far, but most of those have been restored almost immediately. So we continue to, as we identify power outage throughout the community, those power companies, which are also staging to go up to the Panhandle, they're responding very quickly here in the county to restore our power. And we're going to continue to do that. They'll continue to do that as long as it's safe to do so. Obviously, if there's strong tropical storm force gusts, things like that, there may be a slight delay in getting the linemen out there to fix that. Remember, if, though, you do come up on an intersection where the power is out, please treat that as a four-way stop. We have seen a lot of injuries and unfortunately, some fatalities in our previous hurricanes when individuals barreled through an intersection that was without power. So, again, if you come up on an intersection and there's no power there at the intersection, please treat that as a four-way stop. Earlier today, a transformer blew as one of these squall lines came through. A transformer blew down in the Altamont Springs Longwood area, and that triggered rail arms, the railroad arms, to go down at State Road 436, Ronald Reagan, State Road 434, North Street, Plamosa Street. That caused a major road issue in the Altamont Springs and Longwood area. They're still recovering from some of that congestion, so we are asking people if you can avoid those areas for right now, allow the railroad crews and the power company to do their thing and get those arms up. They are putting those arms up manually, and they're opening up those roadways. Our hope is that we have no major damage here in Seminole County, but with that in mind, we are planning to reopen Seminole County tomorrow. Seminole County Public Schools and our 7 cities, as well as county government, does plan to open tomorrow. So that, again, is barring any type of emergency or deep impact as these squall lines come through. But right now, the plan is to respond to anything that does happen overnight and to reopen everything tomorrow. If you experience damage inside of your home, we ask that you can call our non-emergency line. Obviously, if it's an emergency, call 911. But if it's a non-emergency, just to report the damage, if you could call our Emergency Operations Center, 407-665-1010. Again, 407-665 5100, 407-665-5100. Or you can go to prepareseminole.org, prepareseminole.org, and click the damage assessment report button there. If you lose power overnight or in the evening and you plan to use a generator, please practice generator safety. Carbon monoxide calls are often the leading cause of injuries and death after a hurricane. So if you are planning to use a generator, please make sure that generator is at least 20 feet away from the home, away from windows, air conditions, things like that, anything that could intake the air into the home. Localized flooding is a possibility. We've already seen localized flooding over just the last few weeks with the normal rain showers. Not a lot of capacity. We've been saying over the last few days, not a lot of capacity for additional water, and we are getting additional water as these squall lines come through. So please be careful driving around. Turn around, don't drown, and be careful as you drive through there. Our sheriff's office and our fire department have upped their crews to respond to any type of emergency that happens now and throughout the evening and into the morning hours as this hurricane gets closer to us. Meanwhile, they are also preparing to respond up into the Big Bend area. Our sheriff's office has a 32 deputy crew that is planning to go up and deploy up to the Big Bend to help near Dixie County and around Dixie County. Our urban search and rescue task force, which is made up of Seminole County, Orlando, Orange County firefighters, professionally trained in the urban search and rescue to get into homes that are damaged and destroyed and save lives. They are preparing to mobilize to go up into the Panhandle as well as this storm moves forward. So we want just everyone to please be careful throughout the evening as as it gets darker. These winds are going to start to pop up a little bit, and the storm's going to get a little closer to us. So we just ask that you be safe during that time period. We will be here in the Emergency Operations Center and our first response agencies ready to respond to any type of emergency. So that's it for here in the Emergency Operations Center here in Seminole County. Does anyone have any questions? Yes, sir.
So, Alan, is there a specific mile per hour wind that will affect emergency response for 911 for either police or fire?
Yeah, so we're continually monitoring. So anytime there's a hurricane event, we monitor the wind gauges that we have, and most of those are attached to our fire stations. So we can see exactly when it gets to a threshold where it's unsafe for certain vehicles to drive. So 50 mile an hour sustained winds is where it starts to get dangerous for some vehicles. So, and we have those tiered down. So obviously like our ambulances, those big profile vehicles that are a little bit lighter, they may not run, while a fire engine may run because of course it's heavier. And we've even responded to calls in the Bearcats. Those are the armored vehicles that even during a hurricane. So if there's an emergency, we will get there. It's just what type of vehicle may show up may look a little bit different depending on the squall line that is occurring at that particular time. Any other questions? Yes.
When you're talking about localized flooding, what areas specifically do you think residents need to watch out for?
Yes, it's a good question. So localized flooding, normally we would have like a specific area, but because of the amount of rain that's happened over the last few weeks, it's really everywhere. So anywhere where, and this could occur anywhere in any of the communities, really in the Central Florida area. I'm talking about Orange, Osceola, Seminole, all of them. As we get those squall lines that come through, of course, trees and limbs can come down. They get trapped into the storm systems, and then we have flooding. So it can really be anywhere in the county. And we've seen some trees come down already, and it's exactly what we were talking about yesterday and the day before. Those root structures are so saturated with water, they're not able to grab on, so that tropical storm force winds, those gusts that come through, are knocking down trees. And that's exactly what we were talking about for the last couple of days, and that's what's happening. All right, well, thank you all very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you.